who used to be TTC Vice Chairman. We sat on the TTC, we sat on the TTC for 4 years. We gave the green light on, along with Metrolinx and the province. I remember we were at shake hands events and agreement signing events with the provincial government. The history is being rewritten, so let's get our version of history on the table as well.
Ask your question.
Well, my question is that given that all of that work, all of the agreements, both from the provincial government, Metrolinx, the TTC, the City of Toronto, the Mayor of Toronto, and every other player who has any jurisdictional authority on those matters. Basically, all of them gave the green light. We set up teams, hundreds of people to plan for Transit City. We sent out people to do the work on Shepherd Avenue for over a year and a half.
Your question.
We spent $15 million alone on Finch Avenue, acquisition of lands and properties and so on.
Councillor,
yes.
You have a question? One sentence, short sentence. Ask the question, and I'll put you down to Steve.
All of that work and that history costs zero is what you're saying, $0.
That is the question. Councillor Stitz, please respond.
Thank you. So there's no question we wouldn't be where we are today without the work that has been done by the TTC. There's absolutely no question.
That's your answer, Councillor.
I have a question for you, Mr. Chairman. Yes. And given that the Councillor's motion deals with Finch Avenue, there are a number of speakers on Finch Avenue, including myself.
That's a separate invitation.
Right, but if you pass this motion, you will basically have dealt with
so we'll
the Finch Avenue matter before you even hear
the people
who showed up to speak to you today.
You asked me a question.
Yes.
We should deal with Shepherd first, and then deal with Finch. So Councillor Stitz's motion should be amended. At this point, that was my little Shepherd.
Yes.
Our next speaker is Councillor. Oh, you have questions? Councillor Vaughn, question.
I just want to make sure I understood you properly. You're saying that there is no cost. There is no cost to the cancellation of the Shepherd LRT. No cost.
Councillor Vaughn, Councillor Stitz moved a deferral motion. So really, questions should be on the deferral motion, not on the history of public transit.
But the motion here asks for the costing of all these projects. And I just want to make sure that so we're deferring the costing of study and full understanding of the public process. So the motion that we deferred the cost of the projects as well as the planning of the project. So I just want to make it understood that there would be no cost to the city at all for the cancellation of the Shepherd LRT.
As I say, it was a provincial plan. And the province decided
So the memorandum of understanding that the mayor signed, where he acknowledged there was a cost and the city would assume those costs, that cost is in fact zero?
No. Councillor Cruz asked me about Transit City. So whether there are costs to absorb as a result of not proceeding in a way on Shepherd, then but that hasn't been determined as of yet.
But there will be a cost.
It hasn't been determined.
But there will be one.
It hasn't been determined.
It hasn't been what it is, but it has been.
Or if there will be. The memorandum of understanding says if there are costs.
Okay. The second question is that you said that the commitment that the mayor has made, the commitment is to have a plan, it's not actually to build it. Is that right?
My understanding, and again, the mayor ran on a platform where he wanted to build subway on Shepherd. That was his commitment to the community.
But there is no plan yet, so we have no idea what the cost will be, we have no idea what the configuration will be, we have no idea whether it even passed the Smith test at the mayor's office.
Well, what we do know is that we have a plan. It was announced, I think it was March 30th. That was where we had the announcement of the province. That's correct.
Right. Okay.
So there was a provincial announcement that the province is going to proceed with certain investments along Eglinton and rebuilding the Scarborough RT, and the city had made a commitment to explore Shepherd.
Right, explore Shepherd. But we don't have a costing yet for Shepherd.
No, we do not.
We don't have a density study on how to pay for it yet.
No.
We don't have a proposal around TIFs on how to fund it. We have heard the first revenue stream is being considered as road tolls.
Oh, no.
No?
No, the mayor was very committed. He ran very publicly and said no road tolls.
So I'm not sure what to call it, but Chair Chong or
And you would have to direct those questions to him.
Okay, all right. So the subsidiary of the TTC that's advocating for road tolls, you don't support that?
Oh, I would say that there's a subsidiary of the TTC advocating for road
Isn't that what former Councillor Chalmers' job is to be the Chief Operating Officer for a subsidiary of the TTC?
He's the CEO, and the role of the TTIL has been to explore ways to
So he
advance Shepherd Pub.
He answers to you, right, at the TTC Commission?
Actually, no, he doesn't.
Oh.
He answers to a board.
The board of who?
The board of TTIL.
And they answer to who? Who's the shareholder?
Oh, well, the sole shareholder is the TTC, but there's an indirect reporting relationship, but no, he doesn't answer.
But the director of the TCH supports. Okay, so they support tolls, but you don't support tolls.
Oh, no, I don't believe there's any board resolution at all on tolls.
He's just speaking by himself.
Again, you have to direct those questions to the board. I only can tell you that there's no board resolution supporting tolls.
But that's your plan.
That's not mine.
That's a plan.
We don't have a plan.
There is no plan.
Council is a plan.
There is no plan. There is a plan to have a plan, but there's not necessarily a plan in place to have a
And
plan.
that is why, my friend, you need to support this deferral motion.
Who's going first?
I'm not sure what you want to first.
All right, thank you. Any other questions of Councillor Stitt? None? Councillor Montes.
Couple motions be prepared, one of which is that I'll take carriage of Councillor Mahavic's motion, and I will be moving the recommendation that's in front of us, that the General Manager Transportation Services in consultation with the Toronto Transit Commission to report to the Planning and Growth Management Committee, et cetera, and to report back to Planning and Growth in September. That's the motion that's not up on the board right now, but that's the one that Councillor Cho requested. We moved for this, and I'll be moving it again for Finch. But I have two motions of my own to move. The Chief Planner, Executive Director of City Planning, develop a comprehensive strategy of, my motions are ready. Pass the motions down to you. This one I'm reading. Request staff to produce a planning map that identifies all the development sites along Shepherd Avenue East where the proposed subway is to run, including the major intersections where stations are likely to be built. I'll be moving the same one for Finch. This is to start to understand and put in place the map of the proposed route, and to understand the densities that we require to pay for that subway. We've done some preliminary work on that, and I think we need to start to understand as a planning committee both a couple things. One, the amount of development required to finance the subway. Two, the impact that development will have not just on subway ridership, but also on traffic in the area. Shepherd Avenue is an arterial road that doesn't serve much more than Shepherd Avenue, and if we add, we think of about 200,000 to 300,000 people living along that corridor, the transit nodes, the splits along there currently would suggest almost 3/4 of those people will drive on Shepherd, and if we're going to tear it up and add the condominiums simultaneously, it's going to create a significant stress on city infrastructure. I think we should start to plan for that now, even though you have a plan to have a plan in the future when a plan is available to be planned upon. But I think that these things are comprehensive elements of the corridor that need to be looked at. So this is to take a look at the development sites, to understand what the potential is, to start to understand how they can be activated to produce the revenues, to produce some or part of the proposed plan, or plan to have a proposed plan, and as well take a look at some of the transportation impacts that this kind of massive development on Shepherd will take place. I think all of us who have been following transit in this part of the city really want one thing in common, and that's better transit, not just to Scarborough, but to other parts of North York and Etobicoke. Transit City was going to do nothing for the residents of my ward beyond get cars off the road and hopefully move traffic around more easily in the downtown core, and that was long hoped for and widely supported in my ward. But I understand the residents of the suburbs decided they want subways instead, or seem to be interpreted that way based on the last election. But there are implications, and the implications are magnificent. We understand that to generate $1 billion worth of revenue, you need to develop close to 60,000 condominium suites. Currently, the GTA only generates 16,000 a year, and that's right across the GTA. To focus all 50,000 in a year or in a decade on one street in the city with increased development charges to boot, the numbers start to run into themselves, and this is a significant concern to those of us who are trying to watch the books and develop transit in the rest of the city simultaneously, just getting 6 more stops in Shepherd. Additionally, the development pressures, I think the people in Scarborough need to know that they're looking at a string of 30 and 40-story condominiums going from the Don Valley Parkway out to the Shepherd, to the Scarborough Town Centre. The maps that we've looked at in a very crude way would indicate that you probably need in the neighborhood of about 600 buildings along the Shepherd corridor to pay for the subway. I'm not sure the residents of Scarborough signed up for 630-story condominiums when they signed up for subways. And having just looked at the Tim Hudak's latest campaign platform, he spent the grand total of, I think he spent more money on the anklet bracelet idea than he does on the entire transit system, the entire province. In fact, there is no new money for transit in his plan, and in fact, he forecast significant cuts to the one-third of the budget that currently does fund transit. And so the notion that the Tories are about to or the Liberals are about to step up to the plate and put another $3 or $4 billion on the plate, it isn't there, which means we're going to build either of these subways, or any subway, let alone a single subway stop. We're going to have to build a massive amount of development along the Shepherd corridor, and that happens, as we just heard, while the rest of Scarborough gets nothing. No extra buses, no extra subways, no extra LRT, nothing. The residents of Shepherd get a few extra stops, and they get a massive amount of development, but that's all they get. And they also get that massive traffic headaches because people in condominiums don't all come downtown. Some go to Markham, as we've heard, some go to Scarborough, some go to Etobicoke to work. And getting those people around the city will require much more than simply 4 or 5 extra subway stops in Shepherd.
Thank you, Councillor Vaughn. Are there any questions? Well, Councillor Carroll.
Yes, should the motion be considered? I just want to check if, to be sure, should that motion pass, if you went over the wording with the chief planner or anyone in planning, because I know that it's not on the screen anymore, but it just says report on development sites. It doesn't say potential development sites or potential sites for intensification. I just want to make sure they understand the motion and have that undertaking. The undertaking that you just described in your speech, because that's very meaningful to me. Because as it's written now, I would say there aren't any. But as we know, anyone who visits the design review panel when they're looking at any site on Shepherd knows what the development industry thinks potential density there. I've seen the pictures, and you know, if you like Chinese hamburgers, get out there and have a hamburger because there's going to be 40 stories on top of it soon. You know, but the wording of that motion might not lead them to note that in the report unless you've had that discussion with